Hey everyone, Dynamite Gaming here. The reviews for Super Mario Party Jamboree have started flowing out. Most of them are generally favorable. As you can see here on Metacritic, it has an 82 based on 58 critic reviews, and it has a 91% positive, 7% mixed, and 2% negative. One review came back as negative. Now, when I saw this, I couldn't believe it because honestly, even the worst Mario Party games I've ever played, not including Mario Party Advance on like the GBA, I'm talking about like Mario Party games with board game mechanics, I don't think any of them would be lower than like a mixed review from me. I don't think any of them are like bad games. So I'm shocked to see that there is a bad one when there's so many different modes in this one and a bunch of new features. Don't get me wrong, I haven't played the game yet. I don't know how great it is, but when I see 91% positive, to me it's at least got to be a pretty good game. Like, it's got to be a game that has a lot of things going for it. So I thought, let's hop over to this negative review to see who it is. And when I got over here, it looks like Eurogamer gave it a 40, I'm guessing out of 100. And right here it says, it's the biggest Mario Party game yet, but fails to find the fun at almost every step. Now that blows me away. That does give me a lot of like flashbacks to the Game Boy Advance game, the Mario Party Advance one, that really was more of like a solo single player experience with a little bit of minigames sprinkled in between. I didn't like that game, but I do think there were elements of it that were quite unique. But this is the type of score I'd expect for something like that, not for a full-fledged Mario Party title with tons of boards, 100 plus mini-games. Even though there's only about 50 to 70 during board game play, that's still impressive and right up there with something like Super Mario Party. Probably overall during board play you have a little bit more mini-game variety during board play, but you also have 7 boards to play, 2 extra modes. One of them looks like a Fall Guys Mario Party Nintendo version, which looks really fun. I'm shocked. So let's go read this review from Eurogamer because I thought it was quite odd. I thought this score is just insulting, to be honest. So let's read it and see what they think. Alright, so here we go. Super Mario Party Jamboree review. How to lose friends and alienate people. Board rigid. Review by Katherine Castle, managing editor. October 15th. Alright, so let's just see. Is there anything on her? So they gave it a 2 out of 5. As you guys can see here, Katherine Castle gave it a 2 out of 5 on her review. Katherine is Eurogamer's managing editor and primary spreadsheet organizer. Since 2012, she's been a specialist in PC games and PC hardware. Pretty cool. Writing for Computer Shopper, Expert Reviews, MCV, and most recently, Rock Paper Shotgun, where she was editor-in-chief from 2021 to 2024. She's held some prominent roles here. She's always loved video games, growing up on a steady diet of Nintendo and Final Fantasy fodder. Now very excited she can talk about Zelda and Xenoblade Chronicles as a legitimate part of her work. She's also very partial to JRPGs, turn-based tactics, and platforming games. I will never say no to a good Metroidvania. So I do not like Metroidvanias. I probably wouldn't play those. But so she did a review on Echoes of Wisdom, and she gave it a 4 out of 5, which I think is a fair score. I loved Echoes of Wisdom. It's probably one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. It's probably top 5, honestly. But, 4 out of 5 is a good score. So what went wrong here? Let's find out. It's the biggest Mario Party game yet, but fails to find the fun at almost every step. Is it really time for another Mario Party game already? Question mark? Well, why not? I mean, they haven't really had a true original game since the beginning of the Switch, right? I guess, I don't know, when did Super Mario Party come out? I want to say it's been like 6 or 7 years. I mean, they should be releasing these Mario Party games like biannually. I mean, they're great, and I don't assume they're too difficult to put together, although it looks like they put a lot of effort into this one. They're trying new stuff, which I have to give them credit for, because the board gameplay has always been a staple of the series, but adding some extra stuff on top of it that looks like it could really work for online play, to me, is a very important step into the future of this series. And good for them to start out. You know, I'm not expecting the world out of these new modes. I just hope they're fun. So let's read into it. I'm sorry, I am ranting a little bit too much, but with Jamboree making the third get-together on Switch for Nintendo Cube's long-running minigame marathon, it barely seems long enough to have got the last one out of our system. Superstars was basically a remake of the older games. I'm not really counting that one, you know, the same as I would Super Mario Party, even though it was good in my opinion. Let alone had time to start craving yet another merry-go-round of Mario baseboard game antics. In its defense, one of Jamboree's main attractions is how it's tried to fix a lot of the flaws partygoers had with various predecessors. It finally introduces online party modes, for example, has the highest number of minigames ever included in the series, over 110, as well as a handful of special motion control modes, which I know we're not all crazy about motion control modes, but it's nice that they throw them in. And a full-blown single-player campaign. Fantastic to see that returning. I don't understand why people hate having a single-player mode in Mario Party. It's nice if you know you don't want to play online and you just want to do something by yourself. Even if you only play it once, it's nice that it's there. And will probably get you accustomed to the minigames while you do it. Those unfortunate souls who don't have the benefit of 3 other nearby friends to play local co-op with them. Okay, but there's an online mode. I don't know. When I see a 4 out of 10, it means the game to me is bad. But I mean, I don't understand how this game could be bad. On paper, it's a veritable feast of bite-sized party food to enjoy, and with previous Mario Party games, it's often handsomely presented. But just because this is the biggest Mario Party game there's ever been, doesn't mean it's the most fun. As once you start looking more closely at that so-called banquet in front of you, you realize that, oh no, these aren't delicious sugary treats you want to stuff your face with. They're actually all fruit snacks and bland celery batons that taste like the dying gas of waterlogged cardboard. What? And there's nothing but the weakest orange squash imaginable to wash it all down with. Apologies if you do in fact like diluted squash and celery sticks as your go-to nibble spreads, but from where I'm sitting at least, Super Mario Party Jamboree is one of the least nutritionally satisfying games I've played in some time. It's just bizarre. I'll begin with the disclaimer that if you're already of the view that Mario Party is good and fun and not at all worse than Monopoly at Christmas Affair, Jamboree is exactly that and more of it. As a result, you'll likely have as much fun with the latest iteration as you have with all previous Mario Party games. So, listen, I understand Mario Party games never get reviewed or rated very high, and I think the guy at GameSpot giving it a 6, like, at least he gave a pretty good reason into, like, hey, the game's actually, like, good, but it's hard to kind of rate this game for a review, and he was very open and honest about that. So he got his clickbait in without completely torching the game. I think giving the game a 4 in any aspect whatsoever just seems so out of touch with what Mario Party is, because it's supposed to be a good time, you know, enjoyed with friends, and not... The solo modes aren't to be taken too seriously. Does that make sense? Like, you can still enjoy them. I enjoy playing Mario Party solo, but for it's not going to be for everyone, and I get that, but you should be looking at the game through a lens that, hey, this is a party game. Like, you're not going to be playing this game entirely by yourself. So, job done, you can probably stop reading now. Oh no, I'm going to keep reading. For those wondering if this might be the one Mario Party game to finally dip your toes into, though, I'd advise caution, partly because due to the... What is that word? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. So this is like the limitations of Nintendo's review process. Here it is. I've been limited to just playing, what kind of crap you pull out of the dictionary on that one? I've been limited to just playing in local co-op ahead of its full release, meaning I've been unable to sample its 20 and 8-player online multiplayer modes at the time of writing. So this review is already garbage. Like, are you going to change this? I'm sorry if I'm yelling and you guys have to hear me yelling, but this is garbage. Hey, I haven't played the online modes of 20 and 8, but I'm going to give my full opinion on the game. That's absolutely insane. That's like buying a Call of Duty game and doing the review on the single player. Like, it's very close to that. Like, you at least should be able to try the other modes. I don't know, to me that's bizarre. The GameSpot guy was at least honest, like, hey, I didn't really get to experience the best of what this game has to offer, and I'm still going to play the hell out of it. See, even though he gave it a 6, his review was good. This is crap. This is, hey, I haven't played these, but I'm going to judge the entire game while I write this. That's garbage. I mean, you at least should be able to try those before making a serious, imprint you know, on this review. I just think that's crazy, but whatever. But even without passing judgment on the online offering, even though it's probably one of the bigger parts of the game, I'm not convinced either mode would be strong enough to redeem what is arguably one of the least thrilling party games I've ever had to endure. Even if you put aside the board game element of it for a second and just want full untethered access to 100 plus minigames, the number of hoops you have to jump through before you can even get to minigame bay will likely kill any excitement you had dead in the water. There are plenty of Nintendo games that make you work to get to the good part. I mean, this isn't new. Sure, I could agree that I would prefer stuff to just kind of be there from the start, but I do like earning stuff too. There is definitely a fun part of playing video games there. I mean, obviously, this person just wanted to rush the review out, so they played it like, ooh, gotta get through the game in like 5 hours. To me, it's like trying to review an Animal Crossing game in 5 hours. Like, good luck. You're not gonna have a good opinion. There are cutscenes, dialogue boxes, and menu screens aplenty to skip through, and nothing is ever as quick or immediate as you want it to be for just dipping in for a round of your favorite friendship breakers. See, I don't understand what she's saying there. Granted, if you're turning on Mario Party, you should have at least an hour of free time. You shouldn't be dipping in expecting to play 5 to 10 minutes, unless you're just going to play a couple of mini games, so... Trouble is, despite the sheer quantity of games, most are just reheated servings of the same basic concepts. Jump over this thing, dodge that, last the longest doing all of the above. There are some exceptions, a good handful fall into the furious waggling category. There are guessing games, spot the difference puzzles, and some very sedate races. But there's a lot of variations on a theme here, and finding any great go-to games to even call your favorites doesn't come naturally as you'd hope. If you ask me, the truly great minigames of our time are the ones you can obsess over for hours. The likes of Super Monkey Ball's Monkey Target, for example, or Splatoon's OG waiting game Squid Jump. Now, I've never played Splatoon, so I can't give my opinion on that, but you're really going to use Super Monkey Ball as a comparison to Mario Party? Super Monkey Ball throws like, what, 5 extra minigames at you per game? Maybe a little bit more than that are the ones I've played. And of course, some of them are pretty good, but they're not meant to be mini games. They're almost, like, I don't know how to word it, but they're more of like expansive side mini games than they are like mini games you're just quickly playing through to continue the whole point of Mario Party. There's a bigger purpose here than jumping into a Super Monkey Ball mini game. Does that make sense? Like, you're usually playing the minigames with purpose. There's no minigame you're going to sit there and want to play 1,000 times. That's just not a reality. I mean, you know, even games that I love, like, I even talked to my other video about Bumper Balls, Platform Peril, all those games. You play them 20 to 30 times, you love it, and you move on, right? You get good at it, you know how to play it and beat it, and then you get back to the party mode. But there's nothing like that here in Jamboree, and only a handful really stick in the memory. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm not expecting them to put out basically side games into this game. I mean, it's 100+ games. I expect some to be extremely simple. I mean, and just quick fun, not something that's supposed to last with you for years or something. Even people love mini games like Booksquirm, but Booksquirm isn't like overly complicated. It's relatively simple. You're just going through cutouts in the pages. It's not something I have to play 100 times to love it. You know, I understand it's a really good mini game, and it is nice when you get it once in a while. I don't know why she's expecting these to last for years or something, but whatever. So let's keep moving on. I know I'm ranting and raving a lot, but let's get to the end of this review. So the rest of the mini games outside of this one, big old much that feels largely indistinct from one game to the next. Well, I mean, you played it for a couple hours. Even if you thought one had staying power, how would you even know? The new Showdown minigames do buck this trend to some degree, only because they're substantially longer gauntlets than most of their one-and-done stablemates. These are one of the more unique twists in the game. The basic concept remains the same. Everyone rolls a dice, travel around the board. Winner is the one with the highest number of stars. This time, though, a Jamboree buddy will occasionally appear on the board. We know about this. And everyone must go head-to-head across multiple minigames to get them on their side. That's pretty neat. Given how much these Jamboree buddies can potentially supercharge your dice rolls, letting you act twice per turn, buy stars for half price, as well as benefit from a myriad of other buffs and boons that are specific to each character. These showdowns really do live up to their name, and the stakes appropriately feel high for what lies at the end of them. A rare bright spot in the game, while Luigi's Showdown easily sits at the bottom of the pile with its solitary anti-party minute-long games of pinball. She doesn't even like pinball. Jeez, I hate this woman. Made even more miserable in handheld mode when we still only got a quarter of the screen to squint at. His brother's game show quiz, on the other hand, is a triumph. So she doesn't like pinball, which is weird. Pinball's really fun. To me, that's a great idea. There's WarioWare energy to that. Others, though, still fall foul of the dreary dodge-jump dynamic that's so rampant elsewhere. I mean, that's Mario Party, though. A lot of the minigames, they're not going to overcomplicate them. They're supposed to be like a minute long before you get back to the main part of the game. I don't know why she expects these to be like DLC add-ons or something. That's not the point of what a minigame is in Mario Party. This whole review so far, just to me, sounds like someone who's never enjoyed Mario Party. So why are you the one who's reviewing it? It just sounds like a disaster. Of course, someone who doesn't like Mario Party is not going to like anything here. That's not like some crazy concept, but you shouldn't be doing the review. You know, I wouldn't expect any of you to ask me about, like, Deadpool or something, or how I feel about it, because I've never watched it. So, like, why would I give a review on a Deadpool movie? If I watched the new Deadpool and I wasn't crazy about it, why would you want my opinion where I've never watched it before, you know? Like, even if I gave it a decent review, it wouldn't be as good as someone who can actually appreciate the series. Just doesn't seem like she's played it. If you feel yourself falling behind at any point, there's rarely much opportunity to pull things back from the brink. It's lack of strategy and tactical to and fro that ultimately brings Jamboree to its knees. There's nothing more fatal to having fun than a foregone conclusion. Really? So there's more skill in this one than luck? I don't understand. There's no chance time spaces, she's saying? There's got to be some items that can let you get back into the fray, and there's always bonus stars, too. There's versus spaces. Is this game really not have a lot of balancing to it? This sense of inevitability bleeds through to the rest of Jamboree's offerings as well. Not least Mario Party proper, if waiting for each player to take their turn doesn't end up grating on your nerves. See, this is... I don't even know if I need to read any more of this. She doesn't enjoy Mario Party. You don't enjoy Mario Party. You're literally complaining about how Mario Party has been from 1 to 1,000,000 of them coming out. What do you mean? You're telling me you prefer 9 and 10? Where you're all in a cart? Like, you have to wait a little bit between each turn. I'm sure they added stuff to speed it up a little bit. It's not going to be the fastest board game of all time. But you understand that. You're jumping into Mario Party. You got to have a couple hours to spare. You know what I mean? And you're usually with friends, too. It's just this person is reviewing it as if you don't have any friends. What's more, if an AI character was in play, they'd frequently muscle into the top spots in what felt like the most underhanded ways possible, seemingly always managing to bag the bonus and hidden stars for themselves somehow. Thankfully, these extra stars can be tweaked or squashed entirely with the new Pro Rules option, which does make the playing field feel mildly more equitable as a result. Jamboree's most egregious crime is how little it rewards you for actually being good at its sparsely doled out minigames, only occurring at the end of each round. Once everyone's had their turn, they end up becoming like precious drops of water in the parched desert of eternally long dice rolls. What do you mean? Like, is this game play at the same pace as Super Mario Party? Is it really slow or something? All you get for doing well in the brief moments is more coins to add to your bulging purse strings, which you'll regularly struggle to spend because you can never quite land on the right square at the right time. At least that was my experience anyway. Time and again I'd amass a huge fortune after wiping the floor of my opponents during the minigame sections, only ever scrape the bottom of the final leaderboard because I'd had bum luck elsewhere. I'd get that all's fair in love and war and all that, but when the route to victory seems to lie so firmly in fortuitous flukes rather than hard-won ability, it can't help but leave everyone feeling a bit arbitrary as a result. Listen, I'm trying to see where this person is coming from. I don't think I have to really read much more of this. I think I'd rather get to the end. Yeah, here we go. Let's just read the end. I don't really need to read her opinions on the extra games. I've already heard they're kind of fluffy, which is fine. As I said right at the top, there's nothing fundamentally offensive about Super Mario Party Jamboree. Then why are you giving the game a 4 out of 10 or a 2 out of 5? Like, why is the review so bad if it's not fundamentally offensive? If the game in place is decent. Like, at worst, that would be what? Like a 5 or a 6? Like, a 4 to me means the game is bad. Like, I don't know. To me, that's telling me the game is bad. Because 2 and 3, let's face it, would be a lot of game-breaking issues. At 4, you're like, the game's just poor. You know, and anything less than that, the game would just be kind of broken, right? You expect there to be a lot of problems. Perfectly fine and agreeable in places, this doesn't sound like a 4. And there are little touches here and there that sometimes remind you of that old Nintendo charm. Like the character reactions you can deploy during other people's turns. It just has the misfortune of not being very fun and mistakes the volatility of chance and happenstance for being the same thing as competitive satisfaction that comes from playing a good game well. Maybe Nintendo Cube will strike a better balance on the next try with Mario Party. Though given we're already 12 games deep, and that's just counting the mainline entries, maybe it's time to finally take a longer break from the series and go back to a leaner, more fundamental kind of drawing board. Listen, I've given a lot of my thoughts. I don't want to have this be a 30-minute video. It's already going to be pretty much up there. And you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below of what I've said. But to me, it just sounds like this person never enjoyed Mario Party. And if you don't enjoy Mario Party, you're not going to enjoy this game. Like, this goes back to more of the traditional Mario Party, sense from what I gather, and not more of the, like, everyone's in the car and everyone wins. It's not like that. It's completely different, back to its roots. To me, it sounds like she was losing a lot of games, and I don't know, even Super Mario Party, the original one, which I didn't think was a great game, a game that I think does deserve a 5 or a 6. It's really nothing special. I'd still win most of the time, even on the hard difficulty. I don't know what her issue is. Is it like a skill issue? Does she not understand the strategy that boards put in place? I don't know. Everything I've heard otherwise is that the boards are great and that, Mario Party's back. I don't know. It just is wild to me reading this. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is a really odd review, and seeing how most publications have this game as an 8 or a 9, I'm more inclined to believe that the game's actually pretty good, and I'm going to give it a really fair chance. I will say the one positive about this review is it certainly has lowered my expectations for this game, which is always a good thing, because when I go into a game with ridiculous expectations, 9 out of 10 times I get let down. I mean, the last game I can think of where I went in with insane expectations and I actually was blown away is like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was incredible. It really was an awesome introduction into the open world Zelda series, it was fantastic. And yeah, I don't know, this review is very odd. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I just think this person doesn't like Mario Party, and if you don't like Mario Party, your review's gonna look like this. I mean, she complained about the turns being too slow. I need to see for my opinion on that, but I mean, maybe she's right. Maybe the turns aren't quick enough. I guess we'll see. I'll certainly be streaming the game, so if you like Super Mario Party, if you like any of the other Mario Parties, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and stay tuned, because I'll be streaming the game a couple days after it comes out for some online play on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned. See you guys soon. Let me know what you think in the comments.